I started this practice in 2019, right as I was about to have my first child, which was a little crazy. And I now have a total of 20 people in my practice, which is comprised of clinicians as well as testing psychologists as well. Absolutely can attribute the growth and just how much more confident I feel as a leader from the coaching program. Absolutely. Yeah, I think initially what was the big one for me was, well, I'm a clinician and I'm a trained clinician. I'm not a I don't know how to run a business. I didn't go to business school. I didn't get my MBA. And so I think that initially was my biggest hurdle. And then shortly after and even coming into your program, Nicole, I had a huge scarcity mindset. There aren't enough clients. Oh my gosh. And especially being private pay, like, oh, are we going to have enough clients who are going to be willing to pay out of pocket? And so I think like those were probably the two biggest limiting beliefs for me. Because when I did start to hire more people, I really was faking it until maybe I felt like I was making it. Like they're looking to me, my staff are looking to me as their leader and their boss. And I'm like, internally, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. I'm just going to pretend like I do. And cool, and for the most part, it's worked. But I think that that was a really, really tough one that I had to work through of putting on that hat and that identity of, wait, I am a business owner and I am doing this and I am running this and scaling it. And so that was a huge shift of just putting on this new identity and really believing it and not being shaken by some of the challenges, because that could also come up. And before the program, I feel like I was glued to my phone, felt like I needed my laptop with me all the time, felt like when I was vacationing, I had to be connected to the staff. That doesn't happen anymore. Now I have staff, support staff and my practice director who can take care of all of that stuff. And so I think freedom for sure has really kicked in, which I love, because then I can have some time with my children and I can have some time investing in doing other things for the business that I want to grow and scale. So that's really exciting. And then I think, of course, as we all can agree to, as you bring in more staff and you bring in more clinicians and overall you're seeing more clients, that's more revenue. Right. And so that does definitely help with you feeling like you're being compensated well as the owner for all of the hard work that we've been putting in over the years. And so, I think the fact that the very thing that I remember thinking about before I started the practice, which is like, oh, it would be so nice to be able to travel and not have to, and still be making money. And I wouldn't have to worry about, are my clients okay? I'm at that place now. I'm at that place now where I can do what I'd like to do with my family and not have to worry about being glued to my phone and know that I'm still bringing in money. And that I think is a huge win. That is like goal achieved right there in terms of thinking about flexibility, freedom, and income moving in the direction that you want. So, and then I think, as I continue to scale, I do have in the back of my mind at some point selling. And so even just thinking about that and thinking about how that would also in turn change and shift my life financially and giving us more freedom, giving my family more freedom, I think is also really exciting to just continue to look down that path and know that that's likely ahead of me. We have been paying less attention to the revenue that we've been bringing in. And I've been paying more attention to how many clinicians do we have? Are their caseloads full? My office space, I recently expanded to a bigger office. Are those offices full and are they maximized? Right. And then of course, indirectly that that does increase revenue. But I think, once I hit six figures in revenue, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, okay, now what's the next goal, right? And how can we get even further into past, that $1 million mark? But to me, the revenue number sounds great, but if the revenue is high, but all of those other things I just listed are not great, are not in a good place, then it's not sustainable. And so my goal for success has been making sure all the systems are in place, my staff are happy, my clients are happy, and I've got like steady, continuous scaling that's happening, and then the revenue will naturally increase. And so, but my focus has really been on all of those other things. And then when I see at the end of the year with my accountant, oh, our revenue has increased by X number. Awesome. I remember probably within the first week of the coaching program, I was implementing things right away, going through the portal and being like, okay, let me start on this and let me start on that. And so I think that's what's so great about it is you're implementing things as the program is starting. And then you can check in with either the community or with you, Nicole, or with the experts with any questions that you have. And so that's what's great is because then you can kind of see where you're at 6 months later, reflect on where you were at when you first started. And you can see that, I mean, I had done so much in terms of just systematizing things, having things more organized, having two admin staff who I didn't initially. So, I mean, that's what I think is also really encouraging is at the end, just seeing how far you came, given that you are able to start things right away.